Learning grammar. Yikes. So, hi, my name is Noah. I am a Hebrew teacher. I live in Tel Aviv, and I've seen that in order to learn a second language, we need to go back and learn it exactly as we learned our mother tongue. Well, almost exactly, but we need to have creative things, stories, movies, songs, games, just interesting ways to stimulate our brain and to have fun and to learn and actually be able to speak. So how can we do something creative with grammar? I can tell you that whenever I learn a language and when I learn English, whenever grammar gets in the door and starts, we start to learn grammar, this is where I usually stop learning because it's so confusing, all these rules and these structures. And I have to say that you don't have to learn grammar in order to learn a language, because let's look at our mother tongue. We learned grammar only after we knew how to speak very, very well. So it's not a necessity, although people will probably say, of course you have to learn grammar. No, you don't. But I do think that the Hebrew language is so structured that I do want to introduce you to the grammar part. It makes everything much more organized. And again, I wouldn't put all my emphasis on grammar, as a lot of times that's what people do. They put so much emphasis on grammar and not so much on listening and speaking. And reading also, but mainly listening to things and speaking, which is actually how we learn. But I do also want to introduce you to some grammar. And Hebrew really, as I said, is very structured. So we have, for every word, we have roots. Okay, we have a root. A root is usually constructed from 3 letters, sometimes 4, sometimes 2, but mainly 3 letters. That is the root of this word. And we have other letters with that root. And we have other words with these 3 letters and with this root. And usually they are connected. Okay, for example, to think is lachshov. The root of lachshov is chet, shin, bet, vet. And the same root is for machshev, computer, because it thinks for us, or cheshbon, which is mathematics and also the bill when we go to a restaurant, when we want to get the check. So we need to calculate, we need to think. Machshava, a thought, same root, and there are so many in this root, by the way. For instance, melechet machshevet. It's a masterpiece. So it's like a craft that someone needed to really think about and put their whole essence into it. Okay, so there are so many different words in this root. For example, this is just an example, and they're all connected in a way. There's something connecting them. So we have roots, and then we have buildings, and this is really the basics of understanding most of the grammar. So we have the roots, and they don't have to be in the verbs, but it's really important to know that we have verbs that sound the same. For instance, let's do lilbosh, lehitlabesh, lehalbish, lehilavesh. It's the same root. Sounds really weird when I explain, or when someone uses the wrong form and they're like, it's all the same. What's the difference? Because there are roots and because we don't have a lot of words. Not as we have in English. In Hebrew, it's a lot less. And I think also less letters, right? We have 22 in Hebrew. So we have this root. We understand that they're all connected. Let's say lilbosh is to wear something. So all of the other words, verbs in this case, they're all connected to wearing something or dressing up or dressing someone else. But how do we know? So for that we have 7 buildings. 7, just like the menorah. This is a great way to remember it. Interesting, isn't it? So we have 7 families. I call them families, by the way. Usually it's called buildings. But 7 families, and each family has a purpose, let's say. Okay, so let's take, for instance, the example I gave you. Lilbosh is a family called Pa'al. This is their family name. Okay? And in this group of verbs, they're active. So ללבוש is to wear. אני לובשת חולצה כחולה. Right? I'm wearing a blue shirt. אני לובשת. This is something that I'm doing. I have also להתלבש, which is another family, and it means it's reflexive, I guess. So להתלבש is to get dressed. Okay, it's not I'm wearing something, but it's to get dressed. This whole family is a different thing. We have להלביש, which is another building, another family, and this is where I dress someone else. And להילבש, which is actually passive. Let's say I want to say החולצה נלבשה על ידי. This shirt was worn by me, right? Something like that. So each building has its reason. And I want to teach you today the first one. By the way, if you like this video and this channel, please think and consider to help me as well and sign up to this channel. Like this video, comment on this video, and share it with others. It will be so helpful to get to more people that want to learn Hebrew in a fun way. And I will love you forever and ever and ever. So I want to introduce you to this family of verbs. Pa'al. It's not important that you know the name of this family. Why do we need to do it? Because if you know just one word in this family, this building, very well, then all the other words in this building, you don't need to learn them. When you come to conjugate them, let's say to the past tense or future or present, doesn't matter, then it's exactly the same. And even if you've never learned this word, if you've just heard it, you don't even know what it means, you can already use it in the past tense, in the future tense. We're not gonna conjugate the verbs today. I just wanna show you that it is a thing that we do have families, and how can we recognize the first one. And so it's really amazing, because sometimes my students say, oh, grammar is a lot of things, and then I say, just learn this word really well in the past tense, and they learn it really well, and then I throw another word in this family and I tell them, now conjugate this, and they do it like this, and they don't even know what this word means. They've never heard about it. They've never heard this word. So it's really very useful. It's kind of like understanding the structure and the pattern of Hebrew. So how do we recognize this family? So the first one is, as I said, Pa'al, and it has an O sound. I like to call it the O family. So let's take lilbosh, and to wear, and you can already hear that there's an O. Lilbo, lilbosh, lilbosh, right at the end, right? Let's take another one. Lilmod, to learn. Lilmo, lilmod, lilbosh. To work, לעבוד. It's very different than לדבר, which is to speak, and it's not a part of this family, right? לדבר or להתלבש. We don't have this Doesn't matter what it means, but you can see that between ללמוד, לעבוד, לאכול, לאהוב, לרקוד, לדאוג, all this ללבוש, we have this O. Let me do it again. לעבוד, לרקוד, לדאוג, לאהוב, לחשוב, ללבוש. Can you hear this You can also see the structure of how it's written, but really I want to train your ear, because when we speak to people, we don't have subtitles, and we need to start picking it by the ear as we learned our mother tongue. We didn't know how to read. We just listened to things and then imitated them. So this O sound, this is one family. And so we're not going to even talk about tenses and present and all that. I just wanted to show you that it's not that hard. So just to finish this video, I want to sing you a song with verbs, just simple verbs in this family, so you can kind of listen to it over and over again and remember the sound of this O, and let me know if it was helpful, if you kind of struggle with grammar or not, and what did you think about trying to listen to it and picking out the sound and knowing the family.
אני רוצה לאהוב, קרוב קרוב קרוב, אני רוצה לאהוב. אני רוצה ללמוד, עוד ועוד ועוד, אני רוצה ללמוד. לחיות, לשמוח, להיות. לחיות, לשמוח, להיות, כן. לחיות, לשמוח, להיות. לשמוח בלי לדאוג, לזרום בלי לעצור, לשאול ולענות, להיות כל מה שאני רוצה להיות.